What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. You saw I did get a head start on the brake lines, and I focused on the hard brake lines on the rear end there. I'm going to pause to point out it is a beautiful day out, and now I got other chores. I got to start mowing the lawn and stuff, but I'm going to try to do a little bit of work on the brakes before I got to do that. So first thing is I'm going to inspect the work that I did last night and just make sure I'm still satisfied with it 12, 14, 16 hours later. The rear end hard lines are in place, and I was able to use stock straight steel tube with factory flares on either end. I can't remember the sizes on either side, but somehow I was able to get them to work. I'm pretty confident that the flares are going to work there. I also got the rubber line hooked up to the junction that then goes back to a hard line to the front. So I did get the longest 1/4 inch pre-flared line that I could, 72 inches, that I will connect back to the rubber line here, and I'll run it to the front. It doesn't actually run all the way to the front. It runs about 3/4 of the way, and then I'm gonna have to do another junction or something to get up to the master cylinder. The master cylinder lives right up there. You can actually see the pressure brake light switch there that I'm gonna replace, and then it kind of divides out to the front via a rubber line. There's a hard line that goes up and around here, back to a rubber line, which you can see I've already pre-installed on that side. So got some stuff to get done there, and that's gonna be the next step. I think I may have already mentioned in a previous episode, but I did end up getting a new master cylinder. I am actually reusing some parts. This junction here, as well as this S-curve that goes to another junction, I'm gonna reuse that, and I did not undo the connection here or here, assuming that they're good, but I really did clean out that line and make sure there's nothing stuck in there. Did get some new crush washers because I'm going to need those in a couple places, and I do have all the other rubber lines. There will be 1 or 2 more trips to the hardware store for sure to get some junctions and some other things. So now it's pretty much execution mode, getting the master cylinder in there, getting the hard lines in there. So let's do it. It's been a couple days, probably 5 or 6 trips to the auto parts store and countless profanities. Probably over the course of 4.5 hours, I was able to get hard lines run from the back to the front and over again, all using actually stock flared steel tubing. I did have to put 2 unions in there, but I think that's better than trying to flare stuff myself. So the long line I got bent there, ran it to the front, knew I'd have to put a union in there, but was able to get it back up to kind of this mess up here. So that's the S-curve that you just saw on the bench before. I was incorrect. I did actually have to take that apart to be able to screw everything together. I just didn't really think about it in my head of how I was going to assemble it. Got the hard line across there, which you can see another union back up to the passenger side. So everything, it took a while, but it kind of came together pretty nice. I actually went out to Harbor Freight and got a self-bleeding system so I could do it myself. And I started to do it and wasn't getting any fluid, and I was making sure everything was going okay, checking all the lines, and came across a leak. And you can definitely see it still dripping there. It's been a couple days, so it's probably, master cylinder is probably like empty, but it's actually this junction right here, which you can kind of tell maybe that it's angled a little bit in there. And I didn't realize it at the time. That was a tough connection when I was putting everything together. But I must have just cross-threaded it. But it was starting to leak. My first instinct was just to tighten it more. Maybe I just forgot to tighten it. So I tightened it a little bit more. It got tighter. And I tightened it a little bit more, and I got looser. And I had that sinking feeling like I definitely just cross-threaded that thing. So that was a bummer. And then I thought about it more, and I'm like, shoot, I just damaged a brass T-fitting that I'm probably never going to be able to get a hold of without spending a ton of money. So I had one of those moments of just like pure frustration. I was like, all right, I'm going to go cool off. I walked back to the house, and it was like a ray of sunshine looking at me. It was Rusty Bobby who was screaming at me, just take my fitting. And that's what I did. I went over there, and it took me like 5 minutes to take Rusty Bobby's fitting out, which looks like it's in decent shape. I cleaned it up a little bit. So I'm about to surgically replace that, or surgically replace this with what's there now, and hopefully I know I have to rebend one new line, But hopefully it's a pretty straightforward thing. I can get this thing not to leak and actually to bleed. And I know some of you guys are probably like, well, Ben, why are you telling us this story? This is a YouTube channel. Why are you not filming it? Well, it's really hard with a handheld camera to be focused on like what you're looking at all the time. So I've come up with a solution and I'm going to see if it works. And here it is. So now you're watching my GoPro that I've had for a couple years, but on this really nice headband. And you're watching the GoPro look at the camera I'm usually looking at, and you can see the screen of myself. It's like camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2. If any of you guys remember that reference from Wayne's World. Anyway, I'm going to try this out. I know the resolution on the GoPro is not quite as good as what I've got going on the DJI, but we'll see if it works. And I know there's a mic, so hopefully you guys can pick up some audio if I'm not fast forwarding through stuff. But let's try it out, and let's try to get this thing in there and this system ready to bleed. I got the old one out, and they do look identical. I wanted to just make sure everything looks the same. Well, maybe not. Oh yeah, this one's upside down. So they do look the same. The only difference is I certainly did, if this zooms in, mangle this one. You can see the threads are damaged. You can see the flare there is all messed up. So that was definitely the problem. Now, I hope I can get this one back in there without repeating the same issue. Of course, I'm going to be more careful now, so let's do it. Back out in the garage, I did get that T-junction fitting in there. I did try to use my head camera to actually film it, but it looked really crappy, so I didn't put that in the video. Got that in there, got it bled. I tried to use the self-bleeder, didn't work, so I turned to my buddy Joe, who came over pretty quickly to get it bled. So I've got brakes in there right now. So now what I'm going to try to do is get it started and actually pulled out of the garage into the sunlight over there. And Joe's going to be my spotter, and hopefully this all goes well. So I will put my head thing back on so I can film from inside the truck and cross our fingers.
Just turn this way just a little. Okay, now you can straighten it out. Ready? You're good. Where are you at? Right. You're in perfect shape. Tell me when I can cut it. I will.
Okay. I probably don't need the motor on right now.
Probably not. Okay. Okay, you're going down the ramp now. Okay.
Hard? Well, we're out of the garage. That's exciting. And the engine just purrs like a kitten. As you saw, we got the truck out, no issues. Brakes do feel a little spongy, so I'm gonna keep an eye and make sure they're not leaking, but it's outside in the sun, which is pretty awesome. I'm gonna end the video here. Joe is still here. He's gonna help me get it back into the garage, and we're gonna try to get it a little bit more straight. So assuming the brakes are good, next I gotta make sure I can get gas from the gas tank, not from the snowblower gas tank, and then run through the electrical, and then this guy is gonna be ready for inspection. So thanks for following along, stay tuned, and catch you on the next episode.